Okay, this is your introduction to X3. Now, the introduction to the 12-week program also, I realize some of you won't watch all of the videos, and there are individual exercise videos, but I want you to watch this intro to tell you what's really in there. Also take notice of my fitness, what I look like. I'm a lot thinner, a lot leaner, and a lot bigger than I was when I started. So when you watch this video, filming this after the fact, and then you watch the first video, I'm never going to redo that video, by the way, because you can see week by week I'm losing body fat, I'm gaining muscle, my face looks leaner, everything looks leaner. And that's the expected effect of X3. Now, we're going to start by addressing some of the questions that we get on a regular basis. So, everyone's goals are different. Some people really want to be lean and they don't want to be bulky. A lot more males say I want to be bulky. Even some females say I want to put on some serious size with this. So, obviously, women and men have different endocrinology, different hormones, what that means. So, if you use X3 and you're female, you aren't going to look like me with a wig, thankfully. Though, if you do want to look like me with a wig, you're going to have to eat for it. So, bulky muscle comes with consuming large volumes of food, and I address that in the nutrition videos in that part of the program. You got to eat big to get big, and women, you don't have anything to worry about. Now, if your goal is to be fatter, then X3 is probably not for you, because as people move through a range of motion, as you push away from yourself, I'm just going to take this band off. Just mimicking like a chest press motion, your hands are kind of shivering because you're dealing with a much larger weight at extension than you are when you're in the weaker range of motion. So you see the shivering through all ranges of motion through all the exercises. This means stabilizers are recruited, especially when handling very high levels of weight, which X3 allows for, way beyond what you'd handle on regular weights and in more repetitions. So the meta-analysis that was published last summer shows that people, as they recruit more stabilization firing, they dramatically increase the level of growth hormone that they have in their body. They're also increasing it at the same time they're opening up receptor sites. So this isn't like some supplement that just raises your growth hormone level and then your growth hormone goes to your intestines and makes your intestines bigger. Nobody wants that. This is upregulation while also upregulating the receptors in the body. So you get leaner, you recover muscle much faster, it's much more natural. Stabilization, firing, and functional movement go hand in hand. So you're going to get great results. There are people who change nothing. We have one guy, David Fish, who took pre and post DEXA scans, so full X-ray body composition changes, which showed he lost 17 pounds of body fat and gained 8 pounds of muscle in the 12-week program, and he's 55 years old. So total transformation in 12 weeks. All he added was this. He was already lifting weights beforehand for years, by the way. So connecting the band to the bar, this is how that works. It's a hook. You hook the band on, hook it onto the other side. Now, some exercises like the chest press, the band is doubled up. So it's more of a shorter stroke. So this goes around your back like this. This is how you put it on for the chest press, by the way. Now, push away from yourself. So that's how you do it for the chest press. But for like a bicep curl, which you probably wouldn't be using this heavy band, it's singled, and then it goes with a ground plate on top of it, so you're pulling it like a longer stroke. So two different ways to set up each band depending on the exercise. Now, how do you pick the right band? Very common question. You want to shoot for 15 to 40 repetitions. I know that seems like a lot, but don't compare this to regular weight training. Remember, in that stronger range, in a bicep curl, when you're right here, you're holding maybe triple the weight that you are in the lower range of motion. So you're using more weight where you have more power available. Remember, you're 7 times stronger in your stronger range than your weaker range. So you actually will fatigue that strong range of motion with a higher weight than you would normally ever use and at more repetitions. So that's the way you want to handle it. 15 to 40 repetitions. If you can't do 15 repetitions, you might want to go down a band. If you can do close to 40 or 40, then go for the heavier one. So the height is also an issue. So ultimately, the taller you are, you end up picking a lighter band because as you go to further extension, you still get that higher weight. We tell people not to get too wrapped up in weight, though there are weight ratings on this, on each one of the bands. Don't get too wrapped up in it because most of those weight ratings are applied via 6 foot tall individual, me. So, standing on a measurement device and I'm stretching the band and calculating what those are for myself, but people are different heights. So, like, for example, somebody may use this in a chest press, and they may have somebody they work out with who's not as strong and a foot shorter, and they may use the same band with the same amount of repetitions. Doesn't mean it's the same weight, so don't get too wrapped up in that. But we have people that are under 5 feet tall, 4'11". Some people use the bands with great proficiency. I got an email just the other day from head strength conditioning coach of an NBA team who said he just put somebody through an X3 session who had a 7'1" wingspan. The guy just used lighter bands than some of the other shorter guys with a little shorter extremities and went absolutely perfect, and the guy was completely exhausted. So that's how you pick the right band. When you're doing this, if you're a little bit shorter, you may have a little less of a range of motion. So you're going like halfway to full extension and repeating that. Remember, fatiguing the strong range of motion is the objective. That's where you have the most muscle working for you. So if you don't get as much of the weak range in one particular movement because you have shorter arms or something like that, it doesn't matter. You're still going to get tremendous benefit over standard training with this. Now for speed, pay very close attention. If you watch any of the programming, you'll see I'm moving like this. Really slow and controlled repetitions. You also see the slower I go, the more shivering there is. And that, as I mentioned earlier, that is recruiting stabilization firing, which upregulates growth hormone. Sometimes I see videos of people who tag us online, hey, I just did my X3 session, and you see them throwing the bar back and forth. You're not getting stabilization firing. It's not the experience you want. And yes, there's an argument that is fast twitch versus slow twitch. That is mostly a myth. There is published academic research showing that pretty much when you do conventional resistance training or the type of thing we're doing, that you're really recruiting everything. So that's just fake news. Don't pay any attention to the slow twitch versus fast twitch argument. Can you do more than one set? So I mentioned frequently in the 12-week program that I recommend one set. Just one set to complete fatigue, and I'll talk about fatigue in a second. But the reason we talk about one set is you really stimulate the body one time. So my research background started with bone density. And what we know about bone density is you need one loading cycle of the appropriate level at minimum to trigger bone growth. Muscle is the same. The reason people do set after set is because when you lift weights, you're really just training your weak range, where you have discomfort in joints, which is shutting the muscle off, called neural inhibition. And you've only got the smallest amount of muscle firing in the weak range of motion. So it's really just a lousy stimulus. Hence, people do set after set after set. Compromised joints. The stronger you get, the harder it is on joints, and thereby people end up getting to plateaus and unable to grow. Because of the drastic variance in resistance that we have with X3, we don't have to worry about any of that. So we're getting a deeper level of fatigue in one experience, and the greatest results we've seen are with the people who are doing just one set to absolute fatigue. What do I mean about fatigue? So I don't like the word failure, because we talk about muscular failure. Failure makes it sound like it's wrong. Fatigue, or they're interchangeable words, but ultimately, you want to go to a point where you can't go anymore. So with regular weightlifting, you fatigue in the weaker range of motion, hence we call it the weaker range of motion. With X3, we fatigue in all ranges of motion. So what it looks like, you do your repetitions with your chest press or whatever it is, and eventually you can't get to the top. So then you do half repetitions. You don't just arbitrarily go to half repetitions. It's when you cannot get to the top. Then you start doing the halfway ones. And then when you cannot do that, you get one or two that are very weaker range repetitions. Of course, you've exhausted most of the muscle. The joint is not being compromised at that point, and you're completely fatiguing. But you want to keep going until the reps get short to the point where you cannot move anymore. You need one experience of that, and you'll have the most massive growth trigger you've ever experienced. Can you do cardio too? Now, I wear a t-shirt in some of the videos that says, no weights, no cardio, just X3. Now, that's what I do. That's what a lot of our fans do. But that has to do with the typical goal of most of the X3 fans, which is to be lean and strong. Be as lean and as strong as possible. That's my goal. So cardiovascular exercise is fantastic if you want to be a great distance runner or a long distance swimmer or be able to sustain a certain level of exercise for a long period of time. If you like doing 20-mile hikes in the mountains, you got to train to do that. So very specific adaptations with lungs and heart and everything like that. Now you get a huge cardiovascular benefit from strength training. So they're almost the same, and there's a lot of research on cardiovascular health. So for the health of your heart and the health of your lungs, resistance training is great too. So we're covering that. So no one's against cardiovascular exercise, but if you want to be lean, you need to know this. Cardiovascular exercise upregulates cortisol. One of cortisol's objectives, it's a hormone, happens naturally in your body, is to protect body fat, as in keep you fatter longer. So, which makes sense. It's a storage system. So you want to store more energy for a longer period of time if you're a cardiovascular athlete. So doing cardio is no gateway to being lean. This, however, is because we're dealing with growth hormone upregulation. So again, we're not against cardiovascular exercise, but if your goal is to be strong and lean, you don't necessarily need it. I think that covers just about everything with the introduction. Please watch the 12-week program. I know it takes a lot of time. You can watch maybe a couple weeks at the same time in one run. You'll get probably tired of my voice, which I'm okay with. But ultimately, there's a lot of great information in there and some nuances that are beyond what we talked about in this intro video. Thanks.